Today you have me quilting. I am doing some half square triangles for my grandson's quilt. Not my grandson, my great nephew's quilt. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, grab your drink, grab your project, and hang out with me. Good morning. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and I'm glad you're here. This is what I'm doing today. This is Saturday. I was not planning on filming at all today, because usually I film my Monday videos on Sunday. But the situation has come up to where I have a good break in the storm. You can probably hear just a little bit of the popcorn as the rain falls off the house, just that little bit that's left. There is some dark clouds coming, so I thought, go ahead, get this thing filmed, because today and tomorrow it's supposed to be super stormy. We've had thunder and lightning so bad here today. At one point, I was sitting here sewing, and I'm not gonna lie, that thing, the boom shook the house and scared me so bad, I had to do a whole new square because I messed up. My hand went like that, and it messed up. So today, if you're new here, usually I do knitting, crochet, and some sewing. Well, today I'm doing a lot of sewing. Basically, you're going to be hanging out with me, and if you see my work table is a mess, that's because it is. I have my seeds that I planted last week that I take in and out every day. Well, it's been storming and I didn't want them to get drowned. I see sunlight right now, but that doesn't mean anything. That can change on a dime. And if I'm looking at those storm clouds properly, it's going to change. So the second half of this video might not even be me doing this. Who knows? But I was trying to give y'all a break from last week's popcorn. Because Meredith's husband, you know, he was cracking up. He was cracking me up. And every time, you know, he would hear the rain on my unit out here, it sounded like popcorn. And I watched a video just to see. And oh my gosh, it does sound like popcorn. It really does. So I can kind of see where that came from. So when I cut these the other day, I put on my Instagram, you know, the pictures of the squares that I cut. And then I had to sew some half square triangles and cut them. But I am thoroughly enjoying myself. Now, this is only my second time trying to quilt something, right? But the thing about it is, and I keep hitting that tray, I had to order more of the water trays, the bottom water trays, because I have to, just like I did last year, I need to start some tomato plants for my father-in-law, and I bought 80 seeds for that man. So he should have plenty of tomato plants. I think he plants between 50 and 60, or 60 and 70. He sells it to a lot of the local diners and stuff. But I told him I told my husband I would do another one for him. So I had to order some more trays, because these are my personal. I have, just in case you're interested, I have bell pepper, cayenne pepper, zucchini, and then I have basil out. Actually, basil is down on the floor, because basil is supposed to be a good deterrent for pests. And I have marigold that I'm going to plant for that reason too. Now, for my tomatoes, my father-in-law likes Better Boy. I'm not crazy about them. I grew them last year. I've had better luck with other kind of tomatoes. So this year, I'm actually trying something a little new. I'm trying 4 different ones. I'm doing Homestead, Cherry, Amish Paste, and Beefsteak. I have done Beefsteak before. I did them last year. And I did have a lot of pest problem with that. So I'm hoping, but to be fair, the marigolds that I planted in those beds got eaten by something. I don't know what they were. So I was like, okay. Wait, no, it might not have been last year. I don't think I grew tomatoes last year. It was the year before. And they're supposed to be bug deterrents, right? Or, you know, bugs are supposed to go toward them. They didn't. They went for my tomato plants. So the beefsteak, they produced later on than they should have. But that's because they did have so much pest pressure. So it is what it is. So now I am giving beefsteak one more try. I decided I didn't think I wanted to do cucumbers this year. Because we make a lot of pickles and stuff. Like bread and butter pickles and dill pickles, refrigerator dill pickles. But honestly, my father-in-law eats more of them than we do. My father-in-law and his girlfriend. So I think I might just... I still have some canned from 2 years ago. So I don't think I'm going to do those. I did think about trying broccoli. But I only have, and I know this is going to sound weird for people who don't have very much gardening space, I only have 50 feet of beds. Because my greenhouse is 25 foot long, and I have a bed in the front and a bed in the back, and then my middle is a lower bed, and that is for my pole beans, my green beans. So I can't plant anything in those. So between everything that I have 2 of each plant. I mean, I have 2 of those, but I have 3 seeds in each one. So I have possibly up to 6 plants of each variety. I mean, of each thing. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I don't know if I'm going to plant what I can in those beds and then maybe do some container planting for those that won't fit in the beds. I don't know. My daughter-in-law and I did go out, not yesterday, but the day before, and we marked off where we want the greenhouse and where we want the beds behind the greenhouse between our 2 home sites. But like I told her, I'm not in a big hurry because I do have this place right here. Yes, I want to build my house. I really, really do. But at the same time, I don't know how fast that's going to happen because our sons work 60 hours a week some days, some weeks. So we'll have to see on that. But keep your fingers crossed that everything, plans out. But, we got a pretty good idea. Now, she wants my kind of greenhouse like I have here. So I told her, I was like, well, it is a 20 by 25. But I grow things from seeds to fruition, to harvest in that. I don't want to do that over here. I want to make it to where I can start my seedlings in the greenhouse and grow some things in the greenhouse. There was a tomato that I did the first year. It was a hybrid that she had given me because she had started way too many seeds. And so she had given me some, and I loved those tomatoes, but they came in a bundle of different seeds, so she couldn't tell me exactly what seeds they were. But they thrived in a covered greenhouse. Or, like I've told y'all before, technically it's considered a high tunnel, even though it's got a door and everything else, but it's not considered a high tunnel right now because it has no plastic over the top of it. It's just wire fencing. And then I put predator netting over top of my plastic so that when high winds and hurricanes came through, that it would hold it. And it lasted for 2 years, but then the plastic started breaking down, so I had to take it off. Because I didn't want plastic in my garden beds. So I sewed and cut 64 squares, and I'm almost done ironing them because I've already ironed this many. Yes, I was already ironing before I started filming, but I'm sitting here, I'm watching YouTube, and I'm like, oh, I see sun. And I look and I'm like, oh, it quit raining. Okay, well, maybe, because I was even telling my daughter-in-law, I might have to cancel Monday's video if it rained tomorrow, because I didn't want y'all to have to watch another video with the popcorn popping. It was a little much after 3 videos, I'm sure. I only got one email saying that, you know, they had to click off my video because they were tired of hearing it. So I appreciate all of you that did put up with it. Not as many as, I've not had as many views as I normally do, so I know it bugged some of you, and I'm sorry for that. What I may do is try to get a board of some kind to kind of do it at an angle so that it's not hitting the top of that unit, that AC unit. Because, I mean, that's like right here, so it's super loud. But anyway, I want to thank all of you who have joined the Facebook group that I made so we could do this cowl. I am going to be posting probably, I was wanting to do it this evening, but then I got in here and kind of I got the fever of getting this thing done for my great nephew. I want to do a video, let me get my words together. A post about how, you know I said it in the video, but sometimes it's best to have it just in written form. So I will have that typed up on a post. Now, I will say this, I've said it 2 or 3 other times, but the amounts that I am giving are estimations only, because your gauge is going to be different than mine. Your yarn may be different. Your hook may be different. All kind of different things can play into using more or less yardage than I give. I didn't have this problem because I'm using just stash yarn. And I just make do. I mean, any other, hold on. Hair again. Any other crochet along that I've ever done, or anything of that nature, I've always just did what I wanted to do, except Heart Sprinkles cowl, where I made that unicorn blanket. I didn't buy the yarn she did, I don't think. I can't remember if she used the Crafter Secret Hobby Lobby yarn or not, but that's what I used. And know. I might have, that might be what she used. But we're talking almost 10 years ago, I think. Because my daughter-in-law and my son have been together. This summer will be 10 years. So maybe 8 years. Because her and I had a rocky start to begin with, so it wasn't at the beginning. But anyway. And I will have a video when we kick this off about, you know, starting it. And let me tell y'all, this is going to be a very relaxed, informal-ish cowl because I've never done one. Never in my life have I done a cowl. Hosted one, at least. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do, what I'm not supposed to do. You know, it's all new to me. So we'll figure it out together if y'all want to be patient and ride this train with me, so to speak. But I am excited to get this started. I have 48 more squares of just solid colors and then solid white squares. So once I get these ironed, I have to cut them down to 4.5 inches. And if any of my sewing people are out there wondering, I am doing the Starry Charms quilt for my great nephew in grays, aquas, and white. I had thought about adding some yellow in, but in the end I decided not to. I probably should have, honestly, because after I'd done all this and cut all this, my brother texted me, the grandpa in this situation. He texted me and was showing me some material that he is wanting to have made into a bumper pad and blanket set for the cradle. And it has a yellow background. So, oops. It would have been nice to know this. And my sister-in-law, she crochets and now she's learning to knit. And so I checked with her so that I didn't step on her toes, because initially I was thinking about crocheting or knitting something for the baby. And then she said she was going to knit the baby a baby blanket. So I was like, okay. How about I do a quilt? And she's like, oh, I didn't know you quilted. Well, I don't technically. This will be a first go, but I am a person that will try anything once. And I am thoroughly enjoying this. Now, I do, after I get this done, I think I might go ahead and start cutting my quilt for the butterflies. If you're not familiar with that, I talked about this a few months ago. It was before my concussion. But I wanted to get it done and get this done and out of the way before I focused on that. But I have such good news. I think I know how they did those the triangles in the hexagon form. I took a picture of it when I was at that warehouse sale. And I think it's called Kaleidoscope. Because, you know, y'all know I am a huge fan of Donna Jordan, rest her soul. And I was rewatching some of her videos, you know, because there's no new content from Donna. Her husband puts out new content, which is some of him and then some of, you know, like the second half is usually a Donna part of the video. But, and y'all excuse my hair. I was supposed to shower before I recorded, but I didn't want to waste time today trying to get that done. So, anyway. I got sidetracked. I gotta move the table up. I'm blind as a bat and can't see. But, what was I saying? Oh, so I was watching one of Donna's old videos, and lo and behold, when I saw the term kaleidoscope, wait, are these? Ha! Okay, so I had to cut these squares to 5 inches. And after I did the half square triangles, it said cut it down to 4.5 inch squares. Well, honey, when I cut the dog ears off, they're going to be 4.5 inch squares. So, hallelujah. But anyway, sorry, squirrel moment, I know. Y'all know me and my squirrels. It's a fact of life with me. But I started watching this kaleidoscope because, and it was one of Matt's videos, and then he had Donna's portion of the video at the end, and I'm like, I watched him for a second, and then went looking for hers. I didn't even wait to see if he had her video at the end. I just went looking for her original one. And I thought, that's it. That is the pattern that I saw on that warehouse wall. Well, it's not exactly. I mean, because the one on the wall at the warehouse that I saw back in August it had they used let me think of my words, a panel. And then they did hexagons all around the panel. And I did take a picture of it this last time when I went to the warehouse sale. But I am not going to show that picture until I show y'all. Actually, I could show you. If you see the picture on one side of me, I remembered to tell my son. I don't know what his plans are for the weekend, so I don't know how much time he's going to have to edit my video. I mean, normally he makes time to edit, but usually he don't have to do any strenuous editing, because I try to keep my videos as easy as possible, since he's doing this he's doing this for me as a favor. Of course, now, if I took all my bloopers out, it would take him an hour to edit one video. Which I try not to do that because he's helping Mom out. Now, anyway, what I was trying to say is about that. I am so stinking ready to do this. The only thing is I might have to get a 60-degree triangle ruler to be able to cut the angle that I need to, because they are 60-degree cuts to make those hexagons. Oh, excuse me. Caffeination. I mean, did it again, y'all. Caffeination at its finest, right? Between that and squirrel moments. I meant carbonation. It is 4:30. I should not be drinking this caffeine. But you know what? I was sitting here Oh no, I got water on it. I was sitting here and I started ironing, and I'm standing, and I'm just like, oh, man, I'm so tired. What in the heck? Why is this not coming off? And these dog ears are a pain in my patootie. I'm going to just check to make sure that this is still 4.5 inch. What might help if I had it at the right spot, huh? Alright, well, we are still working at 4.5 inches. We are good. Y'all, I'm so excited for this. Though it might be a problem because I might want to do quilting a lot after this. And there's a lot of steps in quilting. Now I know why people charge so much for quilts. It is very work intense. I mean, it is very labor intensive to do quilts. Not to mention just the fabric alone is kind of high. Alright. 5, maybe 10 out of 64. Yeah. Stop your yapping. But anyway, I hope y'all have had a good afternoon, or morning in this case. Well, actually, afternoon for me. Now I really don't know when y'all are going to be watching this, so I can't say if it's afternoon, you know, what kind of time frame you're looking at. And if y'all are looking at my hands, yes. Oh, I didn't update y'all on the kitty situation. Minnie and Tippy came through their spay and neutering with flying colors. Except when we got home. Let me tell you, that was the most stressful thing. Alright. So, I'm gonna back up a minute. Y'all know that the tail end of 25, from September on, after I lost my cat, for the new people, I lost my 15-year-old cat in September that I'd had from a 3-month-old baby. And it rocked my world. Then, a month later, I knocked myself stupid on my daughter-in-law's car. Unbeknownst to me, I had really gave myself a severe concussion, which then landed me in the hospital mid-October. And had no use of my left side of my body. I have gained it back. There's good days and bad days. Some days it doesn't quite work the way I want it to, but for the most part, I'm good. Well, I come to the realization a few years ago that I am a cat person. I will always have a cat in my life. Wow, that is not very good contrast, is it? That's okay. The good thing about that is there is, in that Starry Charms example, there are some that are very light like that. They're very close to the white. But that's okay. I will use a lot of dark colors around that so that it still has good contrast. But back to my story. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt I would be getting another cat. I wanted to get 2 cats because Skittles, as a young cat, had my other cat, Rascal. And we lost Rascal, who was 15 as well. My cats are decently long-lived, especially to be out in the country, but because they're indoor cats. Rascal wanted to be an outdoor cat there at the end of his life, the last few years, but anyway, I wanted... Skittles would not accept anybody else. I had Oreo, which was an indoor-outdoor cat. And she really didn't take to him. I mean, I had him for 12 years, I think. She didn't take to him, but because Rascal was her buddy. Rascal was friends with Skittles and Oreo. But, yeah, no. Skittles just wasn't. And she was the last woman standing. So, I was going to get her a friend. But I knew the way she had reacted with Oreo, she probably wouldn't take kindly to having another cat in the house. And at her age, now keep in mind, she was about 12, I think, when we lost Rascal. And then 13 when we lost Oreo. So, you know, the girl was set in her ways. So when I told my husband, I was like, when she's gone, I want to get 2 cats together so that they can keep each other company. Because Rascal and Skittles, they loved having each other. So, oops, I didn't cut that very tight. So I had thought, you know, okay, what kind of cats do I want? Usually I get cats from the pound or the shelter. Humane Society, the shelter, SPCA, they all have different names, but pretty much they're all the same thing. They're shelters. And I was like, well, I'm still going to do that. I did entertain the idea of a Maine Coon for like 5 seconds, because I think Maine Coons are awesome. But I didn't want to go with the breeder and pay all that crazy amount of money for 2 kitty cats. So I was looking at my local SPCA, and I was like, I want 2 solid blacks. I've had solid black cats throughout the years, but for some reason or another, their little lives were cut short. Well, not for some reason. I know each reason why, but they just, they did not reach old age. And then my daughter-in-law says she thought her cat was pregnant. I was like, well, I love her cat. Her cat is a black and white. And I was like, I love Princess. So I would love a baby from Princess. Well, Princess had 3 kittens on Halloween. And 2 were black with little white accents and then white toes. So when she sent me a picture of the first kitten, I was like, oh my gosh, she's a mini Princess. Because she looked exactly like, the first kitten looked exactly like her mother. And I was like, oh, her name is Minnie. And I know that may sound strange, but to myself, I said her name is Minnie. I was like, oh my gosh, you should name her Minnie. And she loved that name. Then came the second kitty cat. Well, saw him and I was like, oh my gosh, he's black. But just well, we didn't see his chest at that moment because she had literally just given birth to him. And I was having to do all this through pictures because I still could not go up and down stairs. Because my left side. And when my daughter-in-law sent me the first pictures of the first male, but the second kitten, I was like, oh my gosh, he's solid black. And she's like, except for his toes. I was like, I looked closer. I was like, oh, he's got little white tippy toes. That's how Tippy got his name. I was like, oh my gosh, you should name him Tippy. And then the third kitten came out, and she sent me pictures of him. I was like, oh my gosh, you've got another black. So y'all keep in mind, I said I wanted 2 blacks, right? 2 voids. Well, these 2 were not complete. They were not voids. They were more tuxedo because they do have white on their chest. But Minnie is definitely a small mini carbon copy of her mom. But the second male, I was like, oh my gosh, you should name him Toes. Tippy Toes. Tippy and Toes. She didn't. My grandson actually named the third kitten, named him Barry. I don't know why. And my daughter-in-law is thinking about changing that name because she'll call him Barry and he won't come. He has no connection with that name. And I was like, maybe you should call him Toes. She most likely will not. But I'm just saying. I named Minnie and I named Tippy. And it's ironic that those are the 2 that came to me. Because I totally left this up to my daughter-in-law. I loved all 3 kittens. And when I was finally able to semi-make it up their stairs, I did need her help. But I went to go visit, and I had all the kittens on my lap. Well, technically, they were between my legs, hanging out in my dress. But, yeah, they were something else. So the 2 that she wanted me to have was Minnie and Tippy because she thought Barry suited her house better with my grandbaby, because Barry loved on Brantley and would let Brantley just carry him around, any which way. And Minnie and Tippy were too wild for her house. That's fine. I like them wild. Until they get spayed and neutered. And they're supposed to be calm. They're supposed to be quiet. No jumping. No going crazy. Yeah. So, our county has a voucher system to where if you make X amount of dollars, they will help you out on spay and neutering. So, we did that. And the spay and neutering was only like $15, and they microchip them and everything. They give them their rabies shots and everything. The only thing that it doesn't cover, so we had to pay the $15 copay with the voucher, and then $20 a piece for each kitten for distemper shots. And I'm fine with that. So when I go to drop them off the other morning, the lady asked me, she's like, do you want any sedation medication for after the surgery? I said, well, how much is it? I was like, well, before you answer that, how much is it to have you worm them while they're here? She says, well, that's dependent on their weight. It starts at $25 per cat and goes up. I was like, never mind. I will worm them. I was like, okay, well, in light of you telling me how much it is to worm them, how much is the medication to kind of keep them calm? I said, because they are kittens. They're 3.5 months old. So they're still very crazy and very wild, and they bounce off the walls periodically throughout the day. And she said, I'll have to call you and let you know how much that is because it's based on weight. I said, okay. So she calls me and she says, it's $35 for the both of them. I said, okay, that's worth it. That's worth it because I'm not going to be able to keep these kittens calm. And that medication will last for 7 days. I give it to them every 12 hours. And it does work because let me tell you, the way I started this story about how crazy that first night was. All right. Granted, it has been a long time since I've dealt with a sedated animal, because my animals usually don't require trips to the vet except for spay and neutering. And the last one was Oreo 12 years ago. Now it was 13 years ago, 14 years ago, because he's been gone, I think, 2 years. January was 2 years, I think. But anyway, he was my last sedation, because when I got Skittles, I got her from the Humane Society or Aiken County Animal Shelter, one of the two, I can't remember, 15 years ago. And she was already, I got her at 3 months old. Ooh, that's full. But I had my snack in here from when we went to town yesterday. So perfect. But what was I saying? I done distracted myself that bad. Oh, so give me a second, y'all. I'm so sorry. Oh, all right. So I know it's been a long time, but I know how sedated animals act. Well, that's not how Minnie and Tippy acted. They honestly acted like they had lost their ever-loving minds. So I ended up giving them their medicine that night. But let me tell you, they came home. They had them in e-collars, right? The little cone of shame. And Minnie got hers off of her neck before I even walked out of the door. And I was like, hold on, she got her collar off already. Because apparently when the girl handed her to me, the collar was already off. Minnie had already just yanked it off. And I put it back on when we got home. And I'm telling you, this cat made sure that she nutted up. Well, we tried for about 2 hours, I want to say. Actually, I'm not going to put this up just yet. We tried for about 2 hours to work the situation to where the cats would not hurt themselves. Well, I walked into the kitchen, and then I'm coming back through, and I see Tippy literally flipping around, flopping like a fish on the floor. And I run over to him. I'm like, what is wrong? I thought he was, y'all, there's a whole lot of bad things that was going through my head. Well, it turns out that he did the same thing with the e-collar that he had done with a regular collar that I had tried to put on him 2 or 3 days prior. He had gotten it stuck in his mouth, and his jaw was literally pulling down, and him flipping was making it worse. So I got scratched up. I finally got him. I got the thing, because they secured it with a strip of gauze tied in a shoestring bow. Pulled that off, pulled the thing off of him, and he was so terrified. He stayed up against my chest, I know, probably 2 to 3 minutes without moving. And I know that doesn't sound long, but when you sit there with a terrified kitten, that's a very long 2 to 3 minutes. But I needed that time too, because I was freaking out when it was happening. And that's unusual for me. But I had been freaking out all day. I missed them so stinking bad. And they've only been here since Christmas. But I've known about them before they were ever born. So in a way, I've loved these kittens a long time, and yesterday was very stressful. Not yesterday, day before yesterday. What is today? Today is Saturday. It was Thursday. Yes, it was Thursday. And it was, you know, and I almost wanted to call them and say, can I have a refund on this medication? Because these cats are crazy on this medicine, even still. I mean, it does calm them down a little bit, but they still will run and jump on each other. And because at first, we had the e-collars on. And then after that whole incident with Tippy, I took them off. I said, I'm not going to have them kill themselves or possibly open up their sutures trying to get these things off. Or like Tippy did and, you know, messing up his jaw. So, yeah, that's kind of where we've been with the kittens. I have used the squirt bottle. Every time I see them trying to lick their wounds, lick their incisions, I'll squirt them. So bad that when I say Minnie no, she bolts and runs behind the nearest protection so that I won't squirt her. That was probably more than you wanted to know about my kittens. But anyway, so here are my half square triangles. I'm going to get them laid out. You know what I think I'm going to do? I have some of those 2-yard black flannel pieces that I had gotten when we closed Joann's. Because I have not made the blankets that the charity blankets that I had planned on making with those yet. That was supposed to be before the end of the year. That didn't happen. Along with the charity blankets that I was crocheting. Let me tell you, my crochet game, my charity game is going to be so strong this year because I didn't finish it last year. So, what I was talking about with the flannel is I've seen a lot of quilters have a wall to where they have something that's sticky and they can put their pieces on and, you know, decide how they want to do them. Because, y'all, this is a baby quilt that's going to be 48 by 48. So I possibly could do it on here for the most part. I mean, this table is only like 20... The mats are 24 inches, so the table might be 25 to 26 inches. So I wouldn't be able to, but I could do it one way and then just envision the rest. I don't know. Or I could get a piece of those flannels and put them right over my yarn my yarn shelves over there. I could do that. I think I might do that. Just clip them to the top and then let it hang. Clip the flannel to the top of my shelves and let it hang down. And that way I can place these and get a good visual of them because I'm so excited. Now, I might not be able to play with this much this week. That's why I wanted to get a lot of this done today. And honestly, now that I've cut all the dog ears, it's ready to assemble. I mean, not assemble. Yeah, it's ready to sew the top together. So I do need to go ahead and get these planned out on a flat surface, which will be that wall. Yep. So this poor video will probably get no views. Nah, I'm just kidding. I have those of you who are just tried and true friends of mine. I mean, I know the whole parasocial thing, but honestly, I'm probably the biggest one guilty of it because I do think of y'all as my friends. I just don't say it that often, but I do think it. So I appreciate the time that y'all have spent with me today, and you know, Wednesday's video will be more updates on the stash busting and the 12 cast on progress. You know, Everybody does Whip Wednesday. But that's kind of what this is turning into. I wonder if I should just call it Whip Wednesday. Instead of stash busting and 12 cast stones updates. But needless to say, I will see you Wednesday. And in the meantime, take care of yourself. If you can find some joy, grab a hold of it. Don't let go. And this is about good timing because actually that storm held off a lot longer than I thought. But it's moving. It's lighter in the distance, and now it's dark over top of me. So it's probably about to unload on me. But anyway, I'm at a good stopping point here. I'm going to stop here with you. I'm going to go in here. I am cooking a recipe that I tried about a month ago, I think. It is deconstructed stuffed bell peppers. And my family just fell in love with it. So I'm going to go cook that for dinner. I don't know what I'm having. I'm doing a menu. I'm restarting my healthy menu. Which I don't think that would be bad for it. Because it's bell peppers, rice. That's probably the bad part. All the starches in the rice. But bell peppers, hamburger meat, rice, tomato sauce. And I don't use water. I use chicken broth. But I could use beef broth. I didn't do that last time. I just used chicken broth. I'm about to make some homemade vegetable broth. So I might go ahead and get some of that started. I don't know if that would be today, though. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be today. There's not enough caffeine in the world for me to start canning tonight. So I'm going to get off here. I've already said that once, didn't I? I hope you have a great one. And I will see you come Wednesday. Talk to you then. Bye.